Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally that girl in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make Sephardic style sweet and sour leeks, Cabecitas de Prasa. This dish is so amazing. It's absolutely one of my favorites, and I learned how to make it from my mom, which learned how to make it from her mom, like so many of the dishes that I prepare. These are definitely recipes that are handed down generation after generation because they are so amazing and so different. So if you've never had cabecitas, which is what we call them for short, they are leeks prepared in this delicious sauce that we make by toasting up some sugar and caramelizing it, and then we add some tomato and some lemon, and it is just an incredible combination of flavors. It really develops a deep flavor like nothing you've ever tasted, and they are just so yummy. And as I've said in many of my other videos, if you've watched me before, a lot of these Sephardic-Turkish recipes, especially the vegetable ones, can be served cold or hot. I always tell you I love my Sephardic-Turkish vegetable dishes cold. I absolutely love them straight out of the fridge, but it's also delicious served warm as a side dish. So have it however you prefer, or try it both ways because it's really absolutely delicious. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 2 tablespoons of sugar plus another 1 tablespoon separate, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 3/4 of a cup of tomato sauce, 1 1/4 cups of water, the juice of half a lemon, half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 nicely sized leeks. You will also need a cutting board and a nicely sized knife, a couple of wet measuring cups, some measuring spoons, another regular knife to cut your lemon into halves, a serving spoon, and a large bowl. And finally, you will need a medium-sized pot with a lid. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So the first thing I like to do is prepare my leeks. So as you can see, I'm using 2 nicely sized leeks, and I'm going to cut the top portion off. But actually, I do want to use a little bit of that green because definitely that is still very yummy and flavorful. So I cut this one maybe a little too much. So I'm going to take another piece because I could still use just a little bit more, but I don't like to go too high because the upper leaves get rough and I really do not want that in my cabecita. So you can save those upper leaves, wash them well, and then use them to make a vegetable stock or something else with them, but we're not going to be using this portion for our recipe. And of course, you see how dirty they are. So it's going to be really important to wash our leeks really well. So what I like to do is, as I slice my leeks, I'm going to add them into a large bowl. And you'll notice that I'm separating the rings because, of course, especially those outer rings, they could also have sand and dirt in them. So we want to make sure that we wash these leeks really well. So it helps to separate the rings while adding them into a bowl. Now, I occasionally wipe down my cutting board with a wet paper towel and also my knife, even though I'm going to be washing them because I just don't like cutting on that dirty surface. And then, of course, I remove the end and then I continue to slice my leek. So just like I did a moment ago, I just make slices and then I'm going to be adding them to my bowl and just loosening up those rings. And especially when you get to that greener part of your leek, if you find any of those rings to be a little rough or a little too dirty, then just eliminate them. And then we're going to continue the same process. We're just going to grab our rings, add them into our bowl, and then we're just going to go in there and just loosen those rings up a bit so that when we wash them, we're sure to get all of that dirt out. So once you get through your first leek, then you're going to repeat the same exact process with your second leek. You're going to leave a little bit of green. You're going to cut off the end. Then you're going to just slice it in rounds. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to add the rounds to our bowl and loosen our rings. Then take that bowl of leeks over to your sink and run the cold water right over them. And what I like to do is just go in there with my hand and just kind of move my leeks around and just make sure that the rings are nice and loose, because I want to make sure to get all of that dirt out from my leeks. And then we're going to repeat this process a couple of times, because what we're doing is we're moving our leeks around and making sure that whatever dirt or sand are in them settle to the bottom of the bowl. So then of course we drain the bowl and we do it again, and we repeat this process 2 or 3 times until we're sure that our leeks are completely clean and free of any dirt. So as you can see, I drained off all of the water, and I'm just going to set my leeks aside. And then I'm going to prepare all of the other ingredients. I'm going to slice my lemon in half, and I'm going to squeeze out the half that I'm going to be using for the recipe. And I'm going to measure out everything else: the tomato sauce, the 2 different portions of sugar, the salt, everything you need. Measure it out and have it ready, because the trick is that this comes together very quickly, and you need to have all of your ingredients ready and on hand. So now all of our ingredients are ready, and we're going to head over to our stove. And the first thing you want to do is add your larger portion of sugar to your pot. And what we're going to do now is we're going to caramelize this sugar. And so in order to do that, what you want to do is turn your stove onto medium, and then you're going to grab your serving spoon, and it is just really quick. It comes together very quickly. So it's really important that you stir that sugar constantly over this medium heat, because the idea is that the sugar is going to melt, and the process of caramelizing that sugar really transforms it. It becomes golden, and it develops almost a nutty flavor, and that is really what is characteristic of Cabecitas. It has this incredible, delicious flavor running throughout that people may not know what exactly gives it that incredible flavor, but you'll know, because this is what gives it that flavor. It's the caramelizing of the sugar. And this is an incredible way to add flavor to so many yummy recipes. So the trick, as I said, is to not stop stirring. It really just takes a couple of minutes, and the sugar is quickly going to start melting, and you're going to see a change in color and a change in texture. It's going to go from a solid to a liquid, and it is going to be absolutely nutty, flavorful, and delicious, and really is the base for this recipe. So now I have not stopped stirring, and I'm just tipping over my pot just to show you what it looks like. And as you can see, most of the sugar has started to melt, and very, very quickly, in less than a minute, it's all going to become a liquid, and it has a golden color, and that's where we want it. So we're almost there. Like I said, I'm tipping the pot just so that you can get a better look, so that you can see what you're looking for. So we're almost there. You see how the sugar has become golden, and it's just developing an incredible texture, and it has this incredible aroma. This is where you want to be. So once you get to this point, then it's very important to start adding the rest of your ingredients, because you don't want that sugar to burn. It's exactly where you want it. It's golden, flavorful, and it is the key to the flavor in this recipe. So now bring over your olive oil, and you're just going to add it right into that same pot. And be very careful when you're now going to add your tomato sauce, because it will splatter a bit. So start with just a little, and then continue to pour in the rest because this is still pretty hot. And then once you get all of that yummy tomato sauce in, then what you want to do is you want to bring over your water that you also have measured out and pour that water right in. Now grab that yummy lemon juice and you're going to add it to the mixture. And this is the key, that nutty melted sugar, that caramelized sugar, and that lemon together with the tomato sauce make a magical sauce for these cabecitas de prasa. It's a flavor like nothing you've ever had, and it's just so absolutely delicious. You are really gonna love this. So now, as you can see, it's bubbly, it's hot, and I'm just going to give it a little stir to make sure that all of those yummy ingredients are combined and that liquid caramelized sugar is integrated in the sauce. And then once I've brought all of those ingredients together, then I'm going to grab my bowl of my clean leeks and I'm gonna bring it right over. And with the use of that spoon, I'm just going to add all of my leeks into this delicious sauce. And then with that same spoon, you're just gonna stir it together a bit because you just wanna make sure that you're coating the leeks in that yummy sauce that we just created. So just kind of go under with the spoon and just make sure you distribute that sauce. And then bring over the other touch of sugar that you have measured out. And then you're going to do the same with your salt and just add it in. And then this is pretty much it. We're just going to stir them together once again to combine that other little touch of sugar and that touch of salt that we have just added to finish off the seasoning of our cabecitas. And then we're just going to stir them together and get them ready to cook. So now that everything is well combined, grab your lid and place it on your pot. And then you want to lower your temperature to low because you want these to gently simmer and soften. And then set a 20-minute timer to allow them to cook. And then about halfway through the cooking process, just uncover them and give them a nice stir. Of course, every stove is different, so you want to make sure that they're not overboiling, that the heat is not too high, and that your leeks are softening. So maybe do this once during the process and then keep the lid on for the rest of the time because the steam is going to help develop those flavors and soften those leeks, and it's just going to be absolutely perfect. So after 20 minutes, your leeks should look something like this. And that is when it's time to turn your stove off. They look delicious. The leeks have softened enough, but they're not mushy. They're still firm, but they are absolutely delicious. All the flavors have developed and they are perfect, and they have that yummy caramelized sugar that we started with that just gives them an incredible sweet and sour flavor. It's just really so different and like nothing you've ever tried. They are yummy, flavorful, and just an incredible vegetable dish. Super yummy, super different. So now just bring them near your favorite serving dish and just pour them in. The smell is intoxicating. It smells so incredibly delicious. And if you are a leek fan, you are going to love these. They are super yummy and they are a very easy but delicious way to prepare leeks. And my guess is that you will serve these and people will go nuts because they're so different. My bet is that unless, like me, you had the good fortune of having two Sephardic-Turkish grandmothers, you've probably never seen this dish and never tried this dish. So trust me when I tell you, it is so delicious. You really have to try it. So now it's my turn to taste it. One of the benefits of making these incredible recipe videos for you guys is that, of course, I get to eat all these yummy dishes that I love so much. And of course, no one in my house is complaining either because they also get to eat all of these yummy dishes that I prepare to share with you. The problem is sometimes keeping them away from the kitchen while I am preparing these dishes because the smell fills the house and they just want to come over and sample. And I just tell them, you've got to wait. It's not ready yet. So now let's take a bite. Look at how beautiful this looks. Just savory with that incredible sauce that we've created. Wow. Oh my. This is so good. It's perfect. That caramelized sugar is incredible. It just gives it such an incredible flavor. And I love that inner part of the leek that's still whole. It's just absolutely yummy and crunchy, but just perfectly cooked. It is incredible. It is so tasty. Really, I just love it a little more every time I try it. It is just so incredibly delicious. It is just too good. Amazing. I love it. Hot or cold. Reminds me of home, reminds me of my grandmothers, my mom, and all those incredible dishes they would make for me. So how absolutely incredible does this look? It is so good. The way we caramelize that sugar and then we add the tomato and the lemon, it's just an incredible combination of flavors, and it really just develops this deep flavor like nothing you've ever tried. They are so good. I could literally just sit there with a spoon and scoop them up and eat them all day. They're really that good. They're my favorite. They are fun and they are different because I can assure you, most people have not seen this dish before. This is something really special and really different that you are going to love. Trust me. No, better yet, don't trust me. You're gonna have to try to make this recipe yourself. And of course, if you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And remember to subscribe to my channel and to touch that little notification bell so that you don't miss out on a single amazing recipe that I still have planned for you. And of course, all of the amazing recipes that I already have up on my channel. And if you're not already following me on social media, you can follow Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, and Sally That Girl FL on Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. See you next time. Sally That Girl in the Kitchen.